funny, I think back of the people who inspired me most. It's never some, Albert Einstein type of guy, big hero. Just the guy down the street. I thought, man, that's what I want to do. No means no with my dad. He's going, look, you're smart. Don't waste it. Skater's a bum. Look at the culture. I was like, Dad, please. On one condition. First time you get hurt, you quit. As soon as school gets more serious, you quit, etc. He would always threaten, okay, I'm taking it away. That pressure where I held on to it and I had to fight for it, that, if anything, defines me to this day. In fact, probably the most creative time I'd ever had in skateboarding was when he said, this is it, at the end of the summer, it's done. And I think that kind of hardened a kung fu grip. I really saw skating as, this is access I have of expressing myself physically. I hardly spoke. This is the way I can do it, and I can do it. I developed really quickly. I started winning things rapidly. I never wanted to compete, but even the shop put me in. They called my name one time. They entered me without my knowledge. They pushed me out physically, reluctantly. I went and I won. As I started to win contests, I got this very clear picture of the weight of Shakespeare, right? Heavy lies the crown. I held a title for I won 35 out of 36 contests, 34 out of 30, whatever. That stuff to me was stifling. I just had the sense of painting yourself into a corner. Because if you do something well, you go at it. That's what we do. It's what all of us do. Hopefully you find that thing you're good at. And you go, and you go, and you go, and you go, and you've tweaked every variable. And now everyone knows you for that thing. And they really want to see you do that thing. But at some point, you're thinking, I have to do something else. But now, what's that next thing going to be doing? Because now I got to start from scratch. I even was retired in a sense. They took away my board because I did freestyle, and that died. Street skating came on strong, and I didn't do that. And so I started again, and as hard as it was, especially to be known at that time, because I sucked. It's entirely, you can't believe the things you take for granted. When you think you know something, you just change one little bit, and you realize how crippling that change can be. And so it took a couple of years, and I started picking up. And so the joy was I could veer off into some field and call it my own. That continued expression of delving into something new, that's who I am. More than the guy that wins stuff. Whenever you're trying something new, there is failure all the way through. The tricks that came to me that are fundamentally different, that have their place in skateboarding, come by accident. The kickflip itself, I get credit for making up this. It was an accident. I ollied not long after I learned ollies, and the nature of them, if you miss, it comes up between your legs, and so you have this naturally spaz out, get away from me. And I pushed it with my foot, get away from me. The board just landed on its wheels as that stared at me. Failure for us is skating, just the physical act of it. For every clip you see, it's a few seconds, it's a clip. Sometimes days go into that. The very process of falling, I think, of what skateboarders do is one of the things that makes it so extraordinarily creative. The community that we love so much and we adore so much, it's not warm and fuzzy at all. It's thorny, it's harsh, sometimes it's sort of ready, fire, aim. It's a group of people that don't belong in groups. All of us are naturally outsiders. We try to push away from each other. That's our nature. We take a common vocabulary and we pull it our direction, and we try to, whatever we do, how do we make it our own? At the same time, it is that small group who gets it and who's able to say, with affirmation, you have given something. And just that nod from a guy you respect, that you know what it's taken, just that nod will drown out a stadium, the roar of a stadium. So there's this term, textbook. Okay, does a textbook switch heel? I know exactly what that looks like. Not one bit of wasted motion. Everything is, it's beautiful. There can be a sterility to that. I mean, look, believe me, I try all night long for textbook this and that, don't get me wrong. But it's the culmination, it's how you combine them. It's representative of a genuine individual that has a taste, a feel, a smell, kind of like it's real, you touch it. We all have a voice. And there's something inside of us that's able to filter and know exactly who this and that person is just by barely hearing a second of it. Skateboarding's like that. When you express how you are, there's going to be some character out there that's going, I'm like that, I get that, I'm like that. The guys who have the weirdest style or do the weirdest stuff, if they are expressing who they are rather than just the sheer athletic act of it, there's a kind of bifurcation. You have to be able to do the stuff. Everyone's got to be able to do kickflip, heel flip, shove, 360 flip. All that's the sort of vocabulary we all have to learn, but it's a sort of poetry that you can make of it and how you speak it. That's what makes a skater great. There's this notion of 10,000 hours to perfect something. And the very process of doing that is just highly repetitive. And this sense of efficiency, of minimizing motion so that you finally get it crisp. And as you're doing that, putting in all of those hours, it's like making a flip book. So you do every page, highly repetitive, again and again and again. Bind them together so that you eventually get to a point where you can flick it. And out comes fluid motion with very little thought. It's in you. Now that you've got it in this highly efficient package, is to go through it and flick through page by page by page and hold down other variables so that you can start to link different flip books together. But genuinely new ideas come from this sort of flicking and piecing, and then suddenly you notice things. Disparate pieces you never thought could be connected that fit perfectly. You know, as with kick flips and 360 flips and heel flips and all this stuff that I'm like known to be, oh wow, you invented this, oh you're so creative. It's like, I'm not that creative. I just love to tinker and feel out that space. All the negative space, that stuff that people don't see, they just see the actual positive space type of thing. But the thing that makes me good is because I spend so much time on the periphery of feeling things out. That's what I love. Sometimes I think the best thing you can do for someone is leave them by themselves, because if you sit there and teach them how to do something, then you're teaching them how to do the thing. But when you leave them by themselves, they actually learn how to learn. And that's what creativity is.